Welcome back. This is our fourth Bash scripting tutorial, and today I'm going to be teaching you about how to create an actual Bash program. So first you want to create a file. Just 1 second. Let me check to make sure the window is in the right spot. Okay, it is. So first we want to create a file in whatever directory you're in. You don't have to be in a specific directory. But I'm just going to create my file and I'm going to call it, let's see, hello, I'm very original, right? Hello, and then the file extension is .sh. So historically, there was a very popular kind of version of Bash, predecessor to Bash called sh. And so, and Bash kind of stole the file extension from that. So in order to specify that your program is Bash, you have to put a special thing at the beginning. And so the way we do this is at the beginning of the file we type in pound sign and then exclamation point and then slash user bin inv and then bash. Okay, and so that specifies that your program is Bash. So now we can do echo hello. So hello world, how about? And actually, you got to make these single quotes. We can't do double quotes. So echo hello world, and let's save it. And now the way we run it is well, this is a little bit, okay, so we got to do chmod, which is, it's a file permissions management command. I haven't explained file permissions, but it's a little complicated, so I will leave that till later. But chmod, and then a plus x, and then hello, the name of your file. So now we can run it. And so now we do // and then the name of the file. And so it runs hello world. Now let me show you. This actually might not cause an error, but just see what it does. Okay, so it works. So sometimes when you have exclamation points it causes issues, but I guess it doesn't have to. It doesn't here. I probably have some setting that makes it not an issue. But so anyways, a Bash program, you just save your instructions. It's basically a sequence of commands that it runs. So we can do echo hello world and what is up, and then we can do some addition. So $, and then two brackets, and then 1 plus 5, and then 2 in parentheses, and then save it, and then we can run it, and just runs one command after the other. It runs this and runs this and runs this. So we run it. And there we go. And I think I showed you this earlier, but when you have a $, it always means the thing following the $, is something that Bash is going to have to do something special with. So in this case, it's addition. The two parentheses indicate that we want to do some math, and I believe that we can do multiplication here too. So 1 plus 5 times 2 will give us 11, and there we go. So we can. So this is a concept from programming. I'm not going to explain it in detail, but you have to know what a variable is, basically. A variable, I'll just give a brief explanation, is like a storage location for a computer. So it's like the computer is keeping track. They have like 2 columns in a table, like it's just got this table that it's like a spreadsheet almost, and like one column is the name of the variable, and the other column is the value of the variable. So I'm just going to do x equals 5, and then we can do x is, and then we can do x. And so this will print out x is 5. The important thing is that the quotes here be double. I know I said earlier that it has to be single. There is a difference in Bash between single and double quotes, and the difference is a little hard to explain, so I'm not going to explain it just yet, but you do need to have, in this instance, you need to have double quotes. If I had single quotes, it would literally print out x is $x. And you can see my text editor changed the way it's colored to indicate that. But since it's double quotes, we can just do that. and so it'll print out x is 5. And now you actually don't even have to, in this case, you don't have to have quotes. So if we just did that, that would also work. But if you want to have some special spacing here, like you want to have a bunch of spaces in between, this will not print those spaces. If you want spaces, you can either do single or double quotes, and I'm just going to do double quotes here just to show how it works. If I did single quotes, it would not do this is called variable interpolation. It would not treat the $ as a special character, essentially. And it would just print out x is $x, except it would have these spaces. It would have the spaces. So, okay, so you might be familiar, if you've ever done programming, you might be familiar with the concept of a function. So a function is just this, well, originally functions were mathematical objects, but no more. So a function just is basically a list of commands to run in Bash. So let's just call our function foo. And the way we denote the function body is we use braces. So I'm going to do curly braces, that is. So we denote the body of the function using curly braces. So echo hello, and then we're going to do something like, something silly. Who's there? That's not exactly as exciting as I was hoping, but it is what it is. So we run it, and actually nothing happens because all we did was say that this is a function. We didn't actually say to use the function. So down here we got to say foo. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to like in programming you sometimes have to do that to call a function. We don't have to do that here because essentially foo is like a command essentially. So all we have to do is say it and it gets run. So we run that and it does that. So, but we can pass what are called arguments to it, just like we passed arguments to cat and echo and such like that. So we can do foo bar. And so then we're down here, we're going to say the argument was bar. And number $1, that just means the first argument. And so we don't have more than one argument, so it doesn't really matter, but let's do this. So now we're going to run it, and it says the argument was bar. We can also do bars. And so now what if we want to pass like an argument with spaces inside of it? The bar is closed. We can't do this. I'll show you that we can't. Whoops. Because this would count as the first argument, and this would count as the second argument, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. So we want this to all be treated like one argument. Let me just show you that it doesn't work. It just prints out the first one because it sees the first one. If, by the way, if we did if we said the first argument and the second argument, and then we changed this to 2, it would print out the second argument was the, as well as the first argument was bars. So now we've got 2 arguments. But the rest are just go completely ignored because we didn't say we wanted to do anything with $3 or 4 or whatever. So, so what if we wanted to specify that the first argument would have multiple words in it? So there are a couple ways of doing this. The first is to put quotes around the thing that we want to have multiple words in. So cats are mammals. So the first argument will be cats are, and the second argument will be mammals. By the way, when it prints this out, it won't say, it won't have quotes around it. It'll just be cats are. So you run this, and there you go. So essentially what the quotes do is they group these, and we can also put as many spaces as we want. It's now sensitive to spaces. So it prints out the spaces. So that's why spaces don't matter when you don't have quotes, because this is the first argument, that's the second argument, this is the third argument. Now all of a sudden, like this would be the first argument. It would have a bunch of spaces before it or after it. we can put spaces. Maybe this one's easier to see. If we do a bunch of spaces before R, now all of a sudden R isn't just the word R, it's also these spaces before it. So if we run that, so now it prints out those extra spaces. Okay, so that's the tricky thing about arguments. And we can also use single quotes, and that has almost the same effect. I mean, in this case it has the exact same effect, but in other cases it wouldn't. And we can also do this this trick. We can do a slash before each of the spaces that we want to escape. So if we do cats are mammals indeed, we can do this, and the second argument will actually be empty. But the first argument is cats are mammals indeed. And then for the last argument we can do okay. And we're not escaping this space, so this will be the second argument. And each of these are this whole thing except for the backslashes. The backslashes serve the purpose of making the space not count as like a normal space. It makes it part of the first argument, basically. So the fact that you're using the backslash to do that means that the backslash itself isn't a backslash. It's like a special notation. And I mean, essentially what I'm trying to say is that this slash does not get printed because it's all it's doing is telling Bash that this space should be considered part of the argument. It's not actually representing a slash. So we could also put spaces here, and that would do the same thing. If we put two spaces here, this slash will only affect the first space. So the first argument will be cats, mammals, mammals, and then a space, because but only a single space, because this space is not escaped. If we put another slash, that would be two spaces, but not right now. It's one space because only this one is escaped. So you can try that, but it'll be a little hard to see. So I'm going to put a dot afterwards, so you can see that there's a space after mammals now. So there's a space right there in between cats, mammals, and the dot. If you didn't have that, it would just be cats, mammals with no space, because that space is considered part of the separation between the first argument, which is that, and the second argument. So that's an interesting thing about quotes. The syntax for Bash in general is rather hard to Google and hard to look up, because again, if you do man and then slash, you can't do that. You could do that, maybe. Yeah, that's not working. So it's a bit hard to use the manual for things like this, but again, that's why I'm making a Bash tutorial, because it's a little bit hard to do research on this stuff.